Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world, welcome along to the wilds of Suffolk. And today it is absolutely wild out here. So if it's your first time here, welcome along. This is what I do. I walk along in beautiful locations such as this, but today it's beautiful, but it is crazy out here. It's freezing and it's snowing. Snowing on the beach today. It's crazy. If you're a returning subscriber, all 1,015 of you joining me for these craziness, welcome back. Welcome one and all. It's I'm humbled by you all being here to listen to me ramble and talk nonsense. So thank you one and all for being here. So, crazy times, I think we can all agree. Absolutely insane. Crazy, crazy times. Today, I'm entitling this video, "The world is at an inflection point right now." Now, I do apologise if the wind is too strong and you can't hear me very well, but as I say, I needed to come out here today because being out here on the beach helps me clear my head, get things straight, get ready for the day, get ready for the month and the year ahead, because things are going to get absolutely insane. I know I've said insane before. Oh, look, the sun's coming out now. The sun and snow. It's insane. It's going to get crazier than that though, folks. So when I say the world is at an inflection point, I mean that. We are at an inflection point and it's time to decide for ourselves what we want for ourselves and what world we want for ourselves and our children and our children's children. So when I talk about an inflection point, we can see so many things happening in the world at the moment, and those things that are happening and the way that they're being treated by politicians, media, the people who are supposed to be our leaders, the people who are supposed to be guiding us and helping us through these things, are nowhere to be found. In fact, they're profiting and putting money in their pockets and running away. So let's get into the nuts and bolts of what I'm talking about, this inflection point, and then we'll try and tie it all together to see what we individually can do to help this along, to make it so that we are in a better place in our whole world so that everybody can benefit rather than just the few. Okay? Now, what we've seen recently in the past few days is that the Hunter Biden laptop has now been confirmed as being real. Right? This is nearly a year and a half after it was first talked about. A year and a half that the media, politicians, everybody denied its existence. In fact, what they said, well, it was Russian disinformation. Russian disinformation that was Hunter Biden's laptop, and all the kiddie porn and everything else that was on there was real. They said it was Russian disinformation. Now that Hunter Biden is about to be indicted, which means arrested, we know that these lying, corrupt, propagandist media organisations are now having to admit the truth that they lied. They lied. And the way they're trying to spin it is, well, 50 intelligence officials, 50 corrupt intelligence officials, told us that it was all Russian disinformation. So rather than being journalists and doing their jobs and looking for information to see whether it could be confirmed or denied, they just took that narrative and ran with it. They didn't just take that narrative. They are controlled propagandists. Remember my last talk where we spoke about the CIA, Project Mockingbird? Who do you think controls the media? Who owns it all? Who owns all the companies? BlackRock, State Street, Vanguard. Look for yourself. Now, I'm going to take a little bit of a sidetrack here. When I do my intros, okay, when I do my intros and I talk about the amount of subscribers that are subscribed to this channel, it's not about me. It's not about bigging me up and saying, look how important I am, look how many subscribers I have, because I don't care. It's not about me. It's not about how many people think that what I say is worthwhile. It's not. It's got nothing to do with anything. I'm not monetizing this channel. It is all about me sharing information with you. And what the subscriber count shows me is that more and more people are seeing the information they're seeing through the bullshit and the propaganda, and they're looking for alternative information and places where people are just talking their truth, like here. Now, I want you to understand, really, I'm an ordinary person. I'm just a guy. I'm a chef, which is my job. It's not who I am. That's my job, but people keep on equating my job to who I am, and what is in my brain to what job I do, which is preposterous, absolutely ridiculous. So understand that this isn't about me. This isn't about how important I am, because I'm not. I'm an ordinary person just like you, trying to find my way through this minefield of bullshit and propaganda and nonsense and bring you what I find, and then you get to decide what you think about it. That's what it's all about. I'm not a propagandist news organization. I'm not misinformation, disinformation. I'm not paid opposition. I'm just an ordinary guy who collects and tries to organize all the information that I come into contact with and present it in such a way that makes sense. Okay? Now, with this whole Hunter Biden laptop thing, people are like, oh, it's not that big a deal. He's about to get arrested. Why? What's on the laptop? Now, bear in mind, this is the President of the United States' son, an admitted crackhead who admitted on national television in the US that he smoked Parmesan cheese because he was looking for rocks of crack in the carpet. Okay? This guy hasn't got very good judgment. Let's put it that way, okay? Now, this is the president's son. Now, in emails on this laptop that have been released, it proves that Joe Biden and Hunter Biden are both corrupt. The whole family. Not just them, but other people in their circles. You know, here's Hunter Biden's ex-partner, Tony Bobulinski, testified about what was on the laptop. Okay? You need to understand what's happening in the background of things here. There's been grand juries looking at all the information. That's why Hunter's about to be arrested. Now, if Hunter is corrupted and corruptible, what does that mean about his father? What does that say for his father? Who's been taking a cut of everything Hunter's been doing, by the way. Now, not only is Hunter on the board of a Ukrainian oil company with no experience in oil or gas or anything like that, the energy sector, getting paid, 100 grand or whatever it was a month. But he's also taken money from the mayor of Moscow's wife. Look at it. Do you see the snow coming down here? I don't know whether you can see it. It's snowing. So he also took $3.5 million from the mayor of Moscow's wife, and from China, from communist China. This is the president of the United States' son, taking money from communist China. Okay? And the whole time, the media, Jen Psaki, everyone has tried to cover this up. Okay? Everyone. Why? Why? Now, obviously, Hunter being on the board of a Ukrainian oil company, and his father, when he was vice president, going to Ukraine and saying, we're not giving you the $1 billion unless you fire the prosecutor. Viktor Shokin was his name. Viktor Shokin, go and look it up, who was looking into Burisma, where Hunter Biden was on the board of directors of a gas and oil company in Ukraine. Okay? Ukraine, where the bioweapons labs, yes, I said that, have been found and have been disabled. So then we go into the other direction of what's been happening, is this whole nonsense with the pandemic. And it is nonsense. Where did it come from? Didn't come from a wet market, that's for sure. It came from a lab. The same kind of labs that have been found in Ukraine. Okay? So all this information is starting to come out. Now, what we're also finding on the laptop is kiddie porn. Yes, I said that. And that links to some other big things that have happened over the last few years. I don't know whether you heard of a group called Nexium, Keith Raniere. It was a Hollywood sex cult where they were trafficking women from different places, Mexico and things like that, and using them as sex slaves. True story. Nexium, go and look it up. He was convicted. Alison Mack from Smallville, I think it was an actress that was in this cult. She was convicted as well. So, despite what many believe and what many, but what everyone has fed back to me when I'm talking about these cults and this perversion that exists in Hollywood. Now, when we're talking about Hollywood as well, let's take that perversion into a whole new direction, shall we? I've spoken about this before as well. The sexualization of children. Children. Okay? Oh, now I hear people go, oh, but you can't say that, Chris. I'm going to. God damn it, I'm going to. You all need to hear this, okay? Disney, okay? Disney that we've always associated with children and children's entertainment and children, you know. What are they doing? They're putting out more LGBTQ plus, whatever other letters you want to throw in there, to children in children's movies. They're saying at least 50% of the characters in their movies are going to be LGBTQ plus. What does the plus stand for? Plus, pedos! LGBTQ plus content in their movies for children. Now I think we can all agree, and we've been down this whole trans route, and we're going to talk about that as well. I've been down this whole trans route with the, children and trans. Now, children should not be exposed, young children especially, to sexual content and sexualization. A child doesn't know whether they're gay or straight or bi or whether, they have no idea. My children still think they're cats sometimes. Okay? Sexualization of children is abhorrent, it is wrong, it is twisted, and anybody who's involved in it needs to be put away for a very, 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 very long time. Grooming children through media, movies, all these kind of things, music, is wrong and it needs to be outlawed. Now, we're looking at lies piled on lies, piled on lies, piled on lies. We're being constantly lied to, and those lies are becoming apparent even to the most blind of us. Have a look around you. Many of my friends aren't talking to me anymore. Well, I say friends. People who know me on Facebook won't talk to me anymore, won't respond to me, because now they're starting to see the lies that have been told to them, especially for the last 2 years about this nonsense pandemic. They're starting to see it. As loved ones are getting sick and dying, they're starting to see it. And of course, being who I am and being talking about these subjects for a long, long time, I'm the bad guy, not the people who are perpetrating it, but the people who are talking about it and trying to wake everybody up and say, hey, you need to look at this. Instead of being angry at the people perpetrating it, they're people angry at the people who are bringing the message. How fucking twisted is that? But here we are. I'm not going to stop because I care, not about me. If I cared about me, I wouldn't be doing this. I wouldn't be damaging my reputation. I wouldn't be isolating myself from people that are supposed to love me, because I'm trying to bring a message to people to help them. To help them firstly to see and to prepare for what's happening. So, when I talk about all this, lies, deceit, fraud, corruption, this is built into the systems we've been living in. And then we get to money. Now, money creation is theft, okay? Money gets created through a couple of different mechanisms. We've spoken about this before, but I'm going to briefly touch on it today because it's really important to where we're going to. So, privately owned, yes, privately owned, central banks have the license to print money, okay? Which they do. Then they loan it to the government with interest attached, okay? So it's instantly debt, all right? The government issues bonds that they sell to bond against that debt that the central banks have created, okay? So they're indemnified. They're getting paid, all right? Now, in order to pay back that money to the central bank from the government has to tax us to pay that money back. But the money supply keeps inflating. It's called inflation. They say it's capped at 2% a year. Now, what that means is that it's not 2%. Okay, let's get that out of your mind. That's all bullshit. It's propaganda. It's lies. It's fraud. It's corruption. Okay, it's not. They manipulate the numbers. It's not 2% inflation. It's more like between 5 and 10% a year. Okay, so they inflate the money supply by 2% a year. Where does that value of that money come from? Because the money isn't backed by anything. In order to print money, usually what they do is they just press a few keys on a keyboard, boop, 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 and it spits out some money, goes to the government, okay? Where does it come from? Where does the value in that money that they've just printed come from? It draws it from the value of the money that's already in circulation. So it reduces your buying power of that money, of the money that you have, whether you have it in a bank or wherever you have it. It reduces the buying power of that money in the system. And it's being reduced more and more every single day. So it's a hidden tax on you and your money. Not only do you pay your income tax and all the other taxes you pay, but you're also losing at least 2% a year to inflation, which is inflation of the money supply. So they're thieving from you an additional 2% a year. Okay? Money supply is also created through banks, through normal banks, Barclays, whoever you bank with, doesn't matter. When they're giving out a loan, they create the money from nothing. They don't have it. It's called fractional reserve banking, okay? So the money deposits that you put your money into a bank account, okay? It's not your money anymore, it's theirs. It's in their account. It says your account, but it's in their institution, it's their money, and then they can borrow against that money, okay? So, the law says that they have to have 10% in reserves of all the money that's been deposited that they can lend out, okay? So if they've got $1 million in their bank, they can lend out 900,000, okay? They have to have 10% reserves, which means if you all wanted to get your money out of the bank at the same time, you couldn't. Okay, and if you tried, there would be a bank run. They would shut the banks. Okay? Think I'm lying? Go and look for yourself. I'm not here to show you nice pretty pictures on the screen and say, look here, little Johnny, look at this information. It's important for you to look at. No, do the work. Educate yourself. So, the fractional reserve banking, they have 10% of your deposits in the bank at any one time. They lend out 90%, okay? Now, when they lend out that 90%, that 900,000, that is then showing on their books as, we have an extra 900,000. What they can do then is they can lend out 90% of that 900,000 out to some more people. Fraud. So what they're doing is they're creating money in the banks, in the commercial banks, on the high street banks. They're creating it from nothing. They don't have it. They're pressing a few keys on a keyboard, pop, pop, the money comes into existence, which reduces your buying power of your money. Now, this is all coming into sharp focus. All this information is coming out. Everyone is starting to learn it. All the fraud, the corruption, the deceit is now going to be on full display for the average person to see. So when I talk about an inflection point, we are at an inflection point. We're at an inflection point, you and me, the general public, the world is at an inflection point where we realise the Great Awakening, where we realise what we've been living in, what world we've been living in, what corruption we've been living under, and we make choices as to how we move forward from here. Now, this is the bit that you might not agree with, and that's fine. I want you to see the logic in what I'm saying, okay? Look beyond the emotional bullshit that you've been programmed with by the news, the media, all that nonsense. Look beyond that and listen to what I'm saying to you, okay? What's happening in Ukraine and Russia with this whole invasion is not what we're being told. What is the response to what's happened is very, very important. And this is key that I want you to take notice of. The response is that Russia has now backed their money, their ruble, with gold. Okay, so why is that important? Gold has been money, monetary metal, for 5,000-6,000 years now. It is the only real money. The fiat money, the paper money that you have is worthless. It's worth zero. It does nothing. Why does gold have value? It can never be created, it can never be destroyed. You can't create more of it. There's a fixed amount of gold in the world. You can't create more, and it can't be destroyed. It's an industrial metal, so you can use it for a lot of different things. It's conductive and all these kind of things. It's an amazing metal. That's why it is a monetary metal. Okay, now, with Russia backing their ruble by gold to sell oil and gas into Europe, it's a very, very big deal. We've been hearing about these sanctions. Oh, sanctions, we're putting sanctions on Russia. It's going to destroy them. The war's going to be over in 5 days. Is it? No. Their economy's thriving. Why? Because they've backed their currency with gold, which gives it stability. And if people want to purchase gas and oil from them, they either have to use gold or the ruble, which means that the ruble price against the dollar, which is the world reserve currency, is going to go up, which will fuck with the Forex markets. Forex is currency exchange. And then that messing with the Forex markets will completely destroy this market. Okay? It's hard to describe exactly the mechanisms of how it all works, but gold underpinning a currency. When you have the American dollar as being the world reserve currency, everything is valued in American dollars, especially oil. It's the petrodollar. It was a deal that was done in the 70s by Henry Kissinger, going over to Saudi Arabia and having them sign the deal where all oil in the world would be priced in American dollars. Okay? After they came off the gold standard in the American dollar. Right. So with the country now going back on the gold standard as a underpinning of their currency, that is the first shot fired in this economic war that is going to revolutionize how the world works and how our money works and what it's backed by, and if it's worth anything at all. The US dollar as a world reserve currency is going away. The Federal Reserve note. It's not the US dollar, it's the Federal Reserve note. It is a privately owned note produced by a private company that is loaned with interest to the world. Every currency in the world is the same. They're all the same. I don't care where you are, what currency it is, they're all the same. Nothing's backed by anything. It is all just paper that's worthless. So, this inflection point that we're at, it is now up to us to decide what's important to us. Do you want your children being sexualized and told that they're pansexual, gay, straight? They're children. They're children. Let children be children. Do you want to go through the world where it's constant inflation and your money doesn't buy what it used to buy? Do you want to do you want to keep living in a world where politicians lie and insider trade on knowledge that they have, being in the government, where they can insider trade and use that information that no one else has because they're in the government with obviously national security, remember? They've got information that we don't have that they insider trade and they're worth millions. When the politicians are talking about, oh, we're going to tax millionaires, they are millionaires. Do you really think they're going to change the tax laws? No. The tax laws are put in place by the government. They're not going to change anything because they're benefiting from it. They're corrupt as shit. So we know that politicians are corrupt. We know the media are propagandists and liars because they've proven themselves to be liars. Russia, 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 remember? Okay? Hunter Biden's laptop isn't real, it's Russian propaganda. Open your eyes. So we're at this inflection point of all these systems that we've lived in our entire lives and for generations. It's not new. This has been going on for a long, 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 long time. And it's all about to be revealed. Who's who, what they've been doing, the fraud, the corruption, the intimidation, everything. We given that everything we know has been lies. We get to choose what we do from here. In order to change the system, we have to remove ourselves from this system. Now, I'll be doing some interviews coming up. I've got some other information that's going to be coming out soon. I've been really busy. I do apologise for not making many videos. I'm just really busy with my life at the moment. So much to do. I'm working 5 days a week and I've got young kids as well, and it's just crazy. So, but I'll be bringing out information of what we can do individually. But for now, supply chains are breaking down due to this whole inflation and everything else that's going on and the lockdowns and nonsense. So I urge you all to take steps for you and your family as this period of exposure happens to make sure, to ensure that you come out of this so you're not going to starve to death, that you've got a roof over your head and you've got, you actually come out of this with something. So, understand gold and silver are monetary and industrial metals, okay? They are worth something. Now, I'll preface this by saying I'm not a financial advisor. I'm certainly not your financial advisor. I work like a donkey just to keep my head above water. I'm an ordinary guy sharing the information I have, so you do with it whatever you will. I'm not a financial advisor. So, gold and silver are monetary metals and they're industrial metals, the price of which will go up because we are now going to a gold standard, which means the price of gold and silver has to significantly rise to be able to cover the amount of money that's in the world. Okay? Cryptos, decentralized cryptos, I've been through this before, there's lots of them. Educate yourself about what they are, what they do, and also for those people who have entered the draw, if you don't know about that, then you haven't been a subscriber long enough to watch my videos. The 1,000 subscriber draw is happening over the weekend. If you haven't entered, please do, and I'll be giving away some crypto. Now with the crypto thing, crypto is very valuable to me, it's very important to me, but that value and importance is, it's one thing, but the most important thing that we have is our time. That's our real currency, our time. And I appreciate the fact that people spend time with me, working along and listening to this. So that's why I want to reward you with it. So as valuable as it is to me, your time is more valuable, which is why I want to. So how much I value your time, so thank you. I'll be doing that over the weekend, so please bear with me. I've got a lot to do. It's just I've got to get that draw sorted out. So, but we have to decide for ourselves what we're going to do. Have some food. Start growing some food if you can. Have some extra food at home, tin food, live food, whatever it is that you need to stay alive and keep you and your family safe. Do that, because as these systems fall and as they become obvious to everyone what's been going on, things are going to change, and there's going to be a period of turmoil where those systems that have been controlled by corrupt organisations will no longer exist, and we have to rearrange how our society works. Okay? It sounds hyperbolic, it sounds like I'm talking through my ass. That's fine, take whatever you like from this, I don't mind. Take whatever you want, use what you want, throw away what you don't want. Okay? Now, we all have to come together to achieve this. So even the people that don't like me, even the people that hate me, the people that hate you, the people that that we are disagreeing with right now, we need them to come aboard and understand what's going on. And that is not going to be easy. So the only way we can do that is to share information with them and hope that they start to see it. They probably won't, but we can only do what we can do. So if you think this is worthwhile, share it. If you think what I'm saying is worthwhile, then subscribe to the channel. If you don't, I don't mind. I really don't. So the snow's back, it's getting cold. I'm going to wrap it up for the day. But as I sign off all my videos, go out to the world. It is a beautiful place if you live. It's just been corrupted by some very bad people. So get out to the world, do good and be good, and you can actually change the world with the way that you talk, the way that you think, the way that you interact with people. We can change the world with our actions. So let's do that. Let's not be corrupted by these people and their systems that keep on doing what they've done. It's up to us to change how we live in this world. So do something. Get out in the world, do good, be good. Look after yourself, look after each other.